Hey guys, it's TEW here, and welcome back to another episode of the TEW 2016 Challenge Run. Yeah, we're booking the SmackDown after WrestleMania here today, fresh off the heels of an eventful Monday Night Raw. What's going to happen on Team Blue and also 205 Live? Let's find out right now. Still WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan, opens up SmackDown Live. And he comes up with Rowan, and he brags about defeating Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And because Kevin Owens is a low-life slob, and he just sits at home eating and polluting the planet. And a slob like that will never be good enough to defeat the planet's champion and end his title reign. Because Kevin Owens, he is basically the personification of everybody that Daniel Bryan is striving to stop. The personification of the WWE Universe and all the fans at home. Kevin Owens will come out, and he says, yeah, he obviously did come up short. He's got no excuses, except for one, because the big, ugly swamp monster, Rowan, was at ringside, and if it wasn't for him, Bryan's 7-foot bodyguard, Owens would have defeated Bryan and become the new WWE champion. And if they have another chance to meet one-on-one without Rowan involved, it'll be a much different result. We then interrupted by a new signing to SmackDown Live, Drew McIntyre. And he says that Kevin Owens had his shot at WrestleMania to beat Daniel Bryan, and he failed. He was on the grandest stage of them all, and he choked. It was the grandest failure on the grandest stage. However, when you put Drew McIntyre on the biggest stage, he scored the biggest win of his career, pinning 16-time world champion John Cena 1, 2, 3. And to him, if that doesn't make him the next number one contender and put him at the front of the line, then he's just going to cut to the front. And then Aleister Black also comes out, and he just has an intense stare down with McIntyre and with Owens. And then he turns to Bryan, and he's like, I did in 12 seconds and one kick something that you couldn't do, and you tried your hardest to do but couldn't do for 9 years. And that is shut up the Miz. And then Drew, Aleister Black and Owens would sort of get into a scuffle, setting up a triple threat main event between the three, where the winner goes on to Payback to face Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. We then come back. Lio Rush is in the ring with Apollo and Bobby Lashley, and he's like, ha! The almighty Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews have come to grace SmackDown Live with their presence. You've come to grace SmackDown Live, the sight of the big man and his favourite pose. We get the weekly shot of Bobby Lashley's bum, and Leo's like, if there's any other tag team who thinks they're dominant enough to stop Apollo and Bobby Lashley, come out right now. And it would be the returning Matt Hardy with his brother Jeff. The Hardy Boys reunited on SmackDown Live, and they pick up the win over Lashley and Apollo. Bobby Lashley gets pinned with the Swanton Twist of Fate combo, and we have, once again, one of the greatest tag teams of all time reunited on SmackDown. We then get a video airing on the screen. It's like showing Bobby Roode, his success on SmackDown Live, him being called up and becoming the United States champion, and then it sort of goes all staticky, and then it shows Bobby Roode on Raw, and it shows him constantly losing, and then him and Gable losing the titles at WrestleMania. It would cut across to Bobby Roode, who'd be sat in, obviously, his fancy Bobby Roode glorious home, watching the footage on his big flat screen TV hang on the wall, and he'd get up and leave the room. Karen would follow him. He'd grab one of his glorious robes out of the wardrobe, puts on, like, I imagine he's got the shirt and suit trousers on, he just puts on the blazer, and he'd enter the bathroom, he'd shave the beard, leave just the mustache, and he'd be like, that is glorious. He'd be like, time for Robert Roode to return to glory. So yeah, obviously, like in real life, I'm going to go with Robert Roode with the mustache and the heel, because I actually think it's probably the best role for him. I like Robert Roode as the stuck-up heel name better than Bobby, because it's like, I don't know, it just sounds more dickheady. But yeah, we've got Robert Roode here, and he's coming to SmackDown Live. Women's tag team action. The Sky Pirates making their official... They've been on SmackDown a couple of times because of the lack of the division. They make their official debut here, pinning Carmella and Mandy Rose. Not much else to it. Okay, whatever. It's Carmella. A match between R-Truth and Curtis Axel starts after an advert break, much to the fans' enthusiasm. And obviously they know something's going to go down probably, and it does, because Randy Orton storms out after about 2 minutes and attacks both and causes the match to end in a no contest. Randy Orton attacks both men, yeah, we say that. He grabs a microphone, he's fucking really angry, really irate. He's like, I'm tired of this disrespect. 2 nights ago I pinned your beloved AJ Styles, sent him packing from SmackDown Live, and proved that this is Randy Orton's house. And this is the respect I'm given? This is on the show and not me? Nuh-uh. This is my house now. This is the land of Randy Orton. And if anyone who has come here for the Superstar Shake-Up wishes to challenge my ruling, come at me. Then there'll obviously be a silence because people are wondering, oh, who's going to come out? And then extended time passes and nobody comes out. And then Orton's like, exactly what I thought. Nobody wants to... And then the screen would go black. The reader would go black. And just like AJ Styles on Raw was interrupted by 3 words, so too is his old foe, Randall.
One and only.
Ricochet comes out. He does his elaborate entrance. And he'd enter the ring, he'd do the sort of backflip off the ropes and land with the superhero landing. And he'd just stand there with a smile on his face and watching Randy, as Randy just sort of watches Ricochet back. As Orton leaves, Ricochet follows him with his eyes. And the two don't come to blows. Random match, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, just needed to get Alexa a win on the show. Liv came over as a solo, and she's just, because I think technically she'd still be a heel because she was a heel with Riot Squad, but she's probably going to end up being a babyface, so just we needed to have her lose here. But after the match, Kathy Kelly gets in the ring and to interview Alexa Bliss after her match. And she's asking Alexa, what are your goals here now you're on SmackDown? Now you're back on SmackDown. And Alexa, because she's a babyface here, says she's happy to finally be back on the show where it all started for her, where she made her name for herself and she won her first women's title. She's had a rocky road the last couple of months with injuries and stuff, and she doesn't know. There was one point she thought she wouldn't know if she'd be back in the ring at all. But now she's back, and she can't wait to bring back the Alexa Bliss that everybody remembers. She's interrupted by Charlotte Flair, who gets to the ring and like sort of looks her up and down. She's like, oh, you're going to have to keep waiting, because I don't know if you've noticed, but you fled SmackDown Live the same time that I arrived here. You went to Raw to have all that success you had while I was here on SmackDown. And the only reason you had all that success over on Raw was because I was here on SmackDown and I couldn't be the queen of the Raw Women's division. So you sort of took that mantra, called yourself the goddess, sort of like, because you knew you couldn't be the queen. But now, fate has brought you back to the same land as her, the queen. And you're once again going to have to follow in her footsteps. And, well, then she sort of, like, extends her foot out next to Alexa's, like, obviously comparing the size difference because Charlotte would have bigger footsteps than Alexa. And then she's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious that you can't fill my footsteps, sweetie, and leaves. So, a bit of tension between who have been the 2 top women of the last 3 years. I'm sure it's all going to come to a head at some point. I did not put the title on the line here, but this is supposed to be an Intercontinental title match. Finn Balor and Luke Harper. It would be Balor would come out and say, I want to fight anybody who wants a shot at my title. Come and get me. And it'd be interrupted by... Well, this wouldn't be... It would happen, like, obviously in a pre-show segment, like one of those WWE.com exclusives, where Luke Harper, the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, says, yeah, I'll have a go. And they have the match here. Supposed to be for the title. I didn't put the title on the line. 82B. Good match. We then get Rey Mysterio and Andrade with Zelina backstage talking about the Bar. And Zelina is like, the Bar may think that they are the top tag team in the division, but let me just remind you, you pinned Kofi Kingston or Big E, whichever one, at WrestleMania. You made the Usos run away to Monday Night Raw, but there's one more team in that match that are still here and are still fighting, and that is Rey Mysterio and Andrade. And the Bar can't run for long. Next week when they come back to SmackDown Live, Rey and Andrade are going to be here, and they're going to go and they're going to try and get another shot at those SmackDown tag team titles. Yeah, this is a thing. Lars Sullivan destroys No Way Jose in a minute in his debut. Not much else to say about it. Lars is here, and he's on SmackDown Live. We then get a limo pulls up outside the arena, and we open it. The door opens. Obviously, the chauffeur would open the door, and the Miz would step out in his fancy suit, sunglasses. And Kathy Kelly would quickly approach him and be like, hey Miz, what are your thoughts on being beaten in 12 seconds by Aleister Black at WrestleMania? And the Miz wouldn't say anything, he would just turn to Kathy. And he'd take the sunglasses down, like peer over the top of them, like a dickhead. And then, like, click his fingers or whatever. And then the chauffeur would come back. Miz would get straight back in the limo and decide, nah, I'm not coming. Fuck this show. And the limo would drive straight off. So the Miz, clearly feeling some sort of emotional way after getting embarrassed by Aleister Black at WrestleMania. Speaking of Aleister Black, we get the main event of the night. He wins the triple threat match by pinning Kevin Owens with the Black Mass in 83B. So, he will be going on to Payback to challenge Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. But we have one more segment left. It is the SmackDown debut of former Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. She comes out and she cuts the generic Ronda Rousey babyface promo, despite being a heel before we saw her. But she says she's had time to obviously think things over. SmackDown Live is the land of opportunity, and she's so excited to be here. Fresh land, fresh opponents, fresh opportunity for her, and she wishes Becky all the best of luck on Monday Night Raw as the Raw Women's Champion. But don't get too complacent, because she's only going to be the champion because Ronda is over here, and Ronda is going to look forward to challenging Asuka or whoever the SmackDown Women's title holder is in the future. She's then interrupted by an old friend of hers, Shayna Baszler. Shayna is like, hey Ronda, fancy meeting you here because unlike you, I had to go through NXT and prove my dominance in NXT, becoming a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, all while you were sat up here with no experience, wandering straight into WrestleMania main events and women's title victories, and you didn't even think to give your old friend a phone call at any point. I had to sit there grinding while you just got handed all the opportunities because you were the most famous of the 4 horsewomen. But this is a new land, new opportunities for us. Why don't you say, now we're both here, we've both made it, whether we were supposed to or not, we've both overcome adversity to be the top women on SmackDown. Why don't we go for bring the old band back together and go for those women's tag team championships. And Ronda, she's like, I came here to be the SmackDown Women's Champion. Obviously, I wouldn't be against teaming with you for the tag titles, but my main goal right now is to be the SmackDown Women's Champion. And Shayna would be like, that's fine, okay, you focus on you. And then she'd go to let Ronda leave. But as Ronda leaves, oh, psych, she's snapped up like by Shayna Baszler and put to sleep with the Karafuda clutch. And we have medics and referees running out trying to pull Shayna off. And Shayna stands tall over her former best friend as the show goes off the air and gets us an 87B+. Good show. And I'll pause here and we get to 205 Live. And we're back for your weekly dose of cruiserweight action for 205 Live. Sorry, we start off with Drake Maverick, the GM, in his office, praising the great success that was Tyler Bate versus Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania and everything that it did for the brand of 205 Live. But fresh off the heels of the Superstar shake-up, after losing Cedric Alexander and the Lucha House Party and others, the shake-up isn't over because over the next course of weeks, just like before, we're going to be seeing more fresh new cruiserweights make 205 Live their home. And I've actually got one of those up next. Debuting Flip Gordon gets a win over Tony Nese. Flip getting a very good 58 rating, which is going to be necessary because he's got to do some things. But actually better than I thought he would do. This is actually a really good match. But Flip, through this on his debut, scores himself a point for 205 Live scoreboard. We then get a promo from Aiden English. He says, for the last couple of months, I've been bound and shackled to being a lowly announcer on 205 Live. I have been limited in what I can do. I have to sit back and watch Drake Maverick bring in more fresh new cruiserweights for 205 Live. And I have to still sit at the announce table and call the matches for them, while Maverick brings in another load of fresh new cruiserweights. But enough is enough. I'm taking a stand. I am officially, as of tonight, no longer a announcer on 205 Live. And if any new cruiserweights think they can step up above me, I'll smack you back down because it's Aiden Day. And I'm the best damn cruiserweight on this roster. So Aiden English just not happy that he was having to sit back, which, I mean, I would get it if I was actually Aiden in this situation. He was like part of one of the most over tag teams like a year ago with Rusev. He was arguably the reason Rusev Day got over as it did. But he's got to sit as an announcer while all these new people come in. And he's just sick of it, so he's now decided, no, I'm returning to the ring. Any new cruiserweights, come at me. We then get... This has actually been a really good show for 205 Live standard. We get the tag team return of Kalisto and Sin Cara, the Lucha Dragons, because Kalisto left on 205 Live while his two tag team partners went to SmackDown because they're better than him. So he's had to resort to tagging with Sin Cara once again, and they lose to Arya Daivari and Drew Gulak, the pre-show legends, in not a scoreboard match because it's not a singles match. Main event segment is Buddy Murphy coming out and bragging about beating... He says Tyler Bate was always positioned as the future of 205 Live, the next cruiserweight champion, but I beat him on the grandest stage of them all. Embarrassed him. And now we have to sit in line and watch petty cruiserweights squabble for the chance to score 3 points and face me. Tyler Bate comes out and he's like, yeah, you were the better man at WrestleMania. Good win. But I'm going to do whatever I can to get another shot at the title. And Murphy's like, but you're not doing a good job because you've got to get 3 points and you're sitting here bickering with me instead of actually getting a singles win. And Tyler's like, that's actually not true, because technically if I challenge you to a match right now and beat you, I get a title shot by beating the champion. And Murphy says, okay then, bring it on, pal. And Tyler Bate defeats Buddy Murphy in 15:52 with a Tyler Drive 97. So just like that, Tyler Bate is once again the number one contender for the Cruiserweight title. We end the show and it gets 54 C-. I didn't book Maria, so I got penalised for it. But I am going to work on fixing the women's situation for 205 Live pretty soon. So until then, I'll see you next time for Monday Night Raw.